Hello friends, Jessica here. So, by popular demand, we're going to be talking 6th birthday weapon trade today. If you're interested in 6th birthday draw set, the anti-ticks, I'm doing a video on that also, but that's not this one. Probably go up soon after this one, so look out for that if that's the information you're looking for. So, 6th birthday draw set. What this is, if you have no idea, this is returning from last year, plus a few new weapons, specifically the T3 weapons. What this is you're going to pick one weapon, count them, one. Don't mess this one up. It's going to come FLB, so 4 stars, if it has a 4-star. I think all these do. It's going to come max level, and it's going to come completely fully skill leveled. It's a great deal. It's deal freaking century. That's why you want to be pretty careful which ones of these you'll pick. I'm going to give recommendations for different types of players, because the right answer might vary depending on what you already have, obviously, and also how far in the game you are, and obviously if you're Primal versus Magna. So, the first weapons we're going to talk about, the M2 weapons. I'm not going to dive really deep into any of these, because that would take forever, and also, you probably already know how good these are if you are at any point where you can make an educated guess about what to pick. For the most part, M2 weapons, I don't super recommend them because they're easily farmable. Granted, you do need a shit ton of them for some grids, and you can trade pendants for them, so they're not really something you want to spend this very exclusive pick on. But they also within themselves vary in terms of usefulness. The Shiva ones, all these, garbage. Like, Colossus Cane is better than a lot of these. Colossus came better than all these. Gonna throw that one out there. The Europa ones. Zither, the harp, is generally pretty good. That's standard for Magna water grids. I run one in a 1-turn kill grid for water primal. Otherwise, I don't run them. But if you want to build like Magna water, ton of these, it's reasonable. I'm not gonna give you a stink how you do that. Earth, these ones are pretty good actually. You primarily want horns and tlinges. What a strange word, tlinge. Those are katanas. These are standard in the Earth grid. You're gonna need. I think people. It's been so long since I've run Magna. I think it's like 3 and 3. So you do need a shit ton of those, but again, don't really recommend you take the Magna weapon. The Grimnir ones. It's mostly the harp you want. Everything else is pretty. You want harps. The Metatron ones. I don't know a lot of people that run these. Let's take a quick look-see, because I don't even know what these do. Dodge and counter, freaking hard garbage. Yeah, dodge and counter is garbage. Enmity Light, that's a strange choice. Especially because Light's traditionally stamina. I think the bow is the one that's decent out of these. Not gonna get super into it. These probably aren't a great pick. The Avatar ones, you pretty much are only interested in the Abyss spines, and even then you don't need an absolute boatload of them, so not the greatest pick here. Let's move on to Xena Weapons. These are really strong EX weapons. I don't recommend you take any of these, because the Xeno events are coming around more often these days. I believe last year's video I said I wouldn't give you a stink eye if you took one of these. I think I might give you a stink eye if you took one of these now, because the Xeno events come around often. Even though you'll want probably one of every copy of these eventually, they're easily farmable when that event comes around. So let's just flip through them. All these are used in some form or another for different grids, both Primal and Magna. They are good weapons, but they're just not that hard to farm. You just might have to wait for the event to come around. These are the T1, I think is what they're referred to, weapons. So like from Dark Angel Olivia, Makula, those bosses. These are all right, but again, easily farmable, and you can trade for these, so I don't recommend them. There are both there's both the regular version, so regular Oberon, for example, is for primal grids. The ancient Oberon is for Magna grids. That's the difference between those two. Don't recommend you take any of these. These are getting a 4-star uncap according to Anniversary. We don't know when that's going to happen, and it hasn't happened yet. So when you pick these, they're not going to be 4 stars. So generally, these would be a bad pick because they're easier to farm. And you don't even get them at 4 stars yet, so what even is the point of anything anymore? Let's see. These are, I don't know what these are referred to as. Are these T2? I guess these would be T2. So like Xena, not Marigna, the other one. Garuda, those kind of weapons. These are pretty good. For the most part, all of these are usable weapons, are even in some endgame grids, like Arctonius, Both Sigurd's good for 1-turn kill water. Indra's Edge is good for soloing Lucy HL. However, they're not that bad to farm, and you can trade for them. Don't recommend them. So now we are starting here at Fire's Prometheus, we're talking weapons I do start recommending. These are T3 weapons. These are from bosses like Prometheus, Kaung, that fucking whale, Gilgamesh, Anubis, don't remember, Hector, and what is the last one? Marigna. These are almost all pretty good. There's 2 from each boss. The thing to know is the first one, so Fire's Prometheus, I believe you can trade for. The second one, the one that they added later, like Chains of Caucasus, is not tradable for. So I generally don't recommend you trade for like Fire, Keeper, All Might Spear. These are vary a lot based on your grid as to whether or not you want them. So I'll talk about each one a little bit. Fire's Prometheus is really good Enmity Enabler. Also kill you if you're not careful. If you don't have a good way to heal yourself and you're running fires, you're gonna fucking burn to death. I've seen it happen. I've had it happen to me. I have a friend that ran one in Lucy HL, and like just her death screams will stick with me forever. Chains of Caucasus. This is the one you can't pick. You can't trade for normally. You need 4 of these things to run a free-to-play Primal Fire grid, which is a pretty good grid. I mean, it's not like Whale Fire, but what is Whale anything that's free-to-play? That's a strange sentence, but you know what I mean. This is pretty good, though. Has Grand Epic, which is a skill that makes it have higher attack based on how many you have, and then has medium enmity. So in some, like, when you're low enough health, there is a threshold where this will actually become probably a little bit better than Exaba, because, you know, Exaba stamina, this is enmity. It's not really a fair comparison, but it's worth noting that these can be potentially very strong. Savior of Hallowed Ground. Incidentally, this is the one I picked. These come from Kaung. These are staff resonance. So based on how many staffs in your grid, you can get more multi-attack. I believe it caps at 10%, which is, for reference, less than a Murglace that's being double Varuna boosted. I believe that's like 13.5% or something. So it's still a lot, though. It's just not boosted by your summons. And it also needs lots of staffs in grid. But Water Staff Highlander is a thing. It's like probably the best thing, maybe the only good thing happening in water right now. So this thing, natural fit for it. It's stamina, and then it's kind of like sort of weird trium, so it's a really powerful weapon. Really good for that grid. Also Kaung, incidentally, while farmable, you can't trade for this weapon, and he has, I believe it's 120 million less HP than the other tier 3 bosses, so he basically dies like that. As soon as the room opens, he gets freaking vaporized. Because, especially since the Water Unifier is next, which is probably what you want this for. So it makes him very hard to farm unless you're really fast, really strong, or like have a JP ping or something. So that's why I recommend this one. Keeper Hallowed Ground, I mean, it gives you chain burst damage and chain burst cap. There might be some weird 1-turn kill setup that wants one of these, but it's not something you're going to want to use as pick on, because one, you can trade for it, and it's super niche. All Might Spear, again, you might want it for 1-turn kill. It basically is like a big attack with a charge damage cap up. Keep in mind, it's charge damage cap up. It's not sentence. It's not both cap up and damage up, so you might actually have trouble hitting that cap because it's just a cap up. This is useful in some In some one-turn kill setups for Earth, if you're running Highlander Earth, it can be useful. I'm actually farming one of these right now, but again, not hard to farm and tradable, so definitely don't recommend you pick it. All Might Battle Axe, this weapon got done dirty. So, I'll explain that in a second. Earth's skill damage cap is the main skill. Really the only, possibly controversial opinion, really the only element you give any levels of shits about skill damage cap up right now is Dark, because Dark has Kalulu, it has Black Knight. Black Knight. I called her Dark Knight last time like she was fucking Batman. It has Apollonia, let's put it like that, who fire skills for free based on their HP, and then like you start shooting out skills and like does a ton of freaking damage off turn that doesn't trigger lockout, so it's really good for racing. That's why you want skill damage cap. No one else really does that as well as Dark, therefore skill damage cap not super exciting here. Here's where it got done dirty. Heroic Tail boosts to attack and damage cap when all weapon types are different. There's another weapon later that basically has a cap up, but it is only when all weapons are different. It doesn't care about type. This is really hard to activate. You need an extremely specific grid because every single weapon has to be different type. You can't have 2 katanas. You can't have 2 spears. You can't have 2 swords. It's really hard to set this one up. So that's why I don't recommend this one. If you are one of the Galaxy Brain people that has a grid for this, then it's probably fine, but I don't even think it's that much. It's not worth it even if you can set it up. Let's put it that way. Onwards, LaFay. This is like, it's a Trium weapon. It's a Wind Cortana, if you get that reference. It's big attack plus Trium. It's actually pretty good. I mean, I think Trium gets short shrift these days because there's a lot of characters that will give you guaranteed multi or very high multi, but you know, not every single team has that multi attack, so Trium weapons are still good. Controversial opinion. Unius. This is like the Chains of Caucasus. You want, I think it's 4 Uniuses for the Grand Epic to give maximum bonus, which I want to say 16% attack each. I might be wrong on that. Making this a double attack up weapon, making it very strong. Like the free-to-play wind, you're gonna need 4 of these. So if you're playing free-to-play wind primal, consider getting these. They're not tradable for, and you're gonna need to kill a lot of freaking Marignas to get 4 of them. Oh boy, Bow of Iliad. I don't even remember what you do. Double attack rate, garbage. It has stamina plus double attack rate. Not super exciting. You can trade for these, but again, easily farmable, so don't get that. Adamantine Gauntlet. This is the Hector Gauntlet. This is another Grand Epic weapon. All the Grand Epic weapons are basically your gateway drug to running Primal, free-to-play Primal. You're going to need a bunch of these, so if you want to run free-to-play Primal Light, then you'll want these. As far as it's any good, it's crit, so like it's only going to be good on Element. Both the Chains and the Unius are better because like Chains is Enmity, Unius is just straight attack. This one's crit, so crit's always a little bit sketchy because it's more specific. You can't run as well off Element. I can never say this. Hermanubis, nailed it. Again, charge attack cap. It's got Majesty, so attack and HP. That's actually pretty good because if you hit an HP threshold like Lucy HL, this is actually a fine weapon. Its charge attack is data, which is decent charge attack. Like I said, people kind of give data short shrift these days, but like it's nice to have a source of data sometimes. That said, you can trade for it. Don't super want to get that one. Here's the one. Here's the freaking one. If there's one thing I would recommend, it's Scales of Dominion. If you don't have this at FLP, this is probably the thing you should get if you have any interest in running Highlander at all. Why? Well, let's talk about it. So, like I was saying earlier, Dark wants skill damage cap up for their racing setup. You don't necessarily need it if you're not running a racing setup, if you're not running like Kalulu Black Knight, Dark Soldier, that setup. But it's always nice to have, and for that setup, it's perfect. what the big deal about this is absolute equality. This one is boost attack and damage cap when all weapons are different. It's not weapon types. This is why All Might Battle Axe got done dirty. This is just different weapons. You can have 10 katanas as long as they're all different katanas. You can have an Xaba with a Xena katana, a Rapfire Longblade with a Ultima blade. Like, it will be fine as long as they're different weapons. This thing will trigger. I believe this is ooh, I'm gonna pull a number off the top of my head. I think this is 20% EX and 10% damage cap. The numbers might be slightly off. Why this one is so important? You might be thinking, oh, it's a dark weapon though. I mean, I don't play dark. This doesn't care about what element you are. That's the big deal about this one. It can go in any Highlander grid, and you really shouldn't be running a Highlander grid unless you have one of these, because it's cap up and it's a nice EX boost. So my water staff grid uses this. If you're running Highlander Earth, you'll use this. If you're running Highlander any element, you'll use this. If you ever have any intentions of running a Highlander grid, you want this weapon. Anubis, you know, still blows up pretty fast because everybody wants one FOB. You only need one FOB of this. Like, not really a good idea to take more than that because you'll turn off absolute equality by the fact that there's two of these and they would be the same weapon. Makes sense, huh? So this is one I recommend. However, if you are nowhere near the point where you need to seriously think about making a Highlander grid, if you're not anywhere near endgame, then this one's not going to be as spicy for you because it's not going to be a benefit unless you're ready to set up a Highlander grid. However, it's still a good pick to have for the future because someday you may get that glint in your eye and you're like, I want to run a Highlander. Wink. I don't know why I'm winking. That wasn't sexy at all. And you'll want this. And this will save you the hassle of farming Anubis, who is kind of a pain in the farm. That's my number one pick. Let's talk about other weapons. These are the showdown weapons. Cerberus and Fenrir. Don't pick these. Because I believe they just added these to their shop. I haven't even checked yet. They said they were gonna. And I think they made them easier to uncap too. So I don't know when the showdowns are coming back. You can trade for these now. The showdowns will eventually come back. Of these, Cerberus orders, it's like an enmity weapon with Trium on it. Like, it's big Trium too. It can be useful for dark, but don't pick this. This is just not nearly the same power level as other ones. Thimble used to be a freaking bee's knees for water. I still run 2 Thimbles for my 1-turn kill grid, but beyond that, I don't run any Thimbles. It's stamina, great, and it's HP. The HP is nice if you need like to hit an HP threshold, obviously. The problem with Thimble is it's just stamina, basically. It's not like stamina like any level of elemental attack. Otherwise, it would be an Eden, which would be freaking amazing. It'd be a grand weapon or was that. This is also one of the problems with water. Slight tangent. I need like a tangent like alert to pop up on the screen. One of the reasons water is kind of considered an awkward, not so great meta element right now is because they don't have access to a stamina plus like some level of attack modifier weapon. So an Eden, an Xaba, an Ichiko, Hito, Kane's sword, however you say it. And the reason it doesn't have one of those, a lot of people theorize, and they're probably right, is because Thimble is accessible. So in ye olden days, Thimble was great because like things like there weren't tons of Ixabas flying around. There weren't tons of Kane katanas flying around. There were kind of some Edens though. But now it's kind of fallen off. It's not a great option anymore. It doesn't keep up with the meta. However, it still is a stamina weapon, so it is a good weapon. But, and tangent, don't trade for it because you can get them from the store now. They're not that big a deal to do. And eventually, the showdowns are due to come back at some point. I think they said they're making them permanent. In which case, like, it's super not worth it to farm these because they're pretty easy to farm for drops. These are proving ground weapons. Don't take these. Oh, Lord, don't take these. Ashamgal, they're good. Don't get me wrong. They're all very good. But don't take these. Ashamgal it's a skill cap up weapon plus like a big EX. Is that right? Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Okay, here, let me explain why you want to take these. They're not as huge a power gain as the other ones. These are like nice to haves for the most part. I don't think any of them are clutch. Some of them are not even worth using over the Xena weapon. There's gonna be one here. I can hear my friend screaming in the background when I click on this. Wind Hose. Wind Hose is from the Wind Proving Grounds, one of the first Proving Grounds. This was super, super important to have for the Wind United fight. Basically because it gives 10% charge bar to all allies, which enables a lot of one-turn kill setups with Christ at War that you couldn't do if you didn't have like 2 Wind Hoses. And then also had chain burst damage plus chain burst damage cap up, which again further helped the one-turn setup. So it was a very important weapon to have. But why you shouldn't pick this? The Win Unite fight is over. Like, you will have my permission to not give a shit about this weapon for at least 8 months, I would say, if not over a year. The thing with this thing is also, it's good, but like, it's not so good that it's better than any of the T3 weapons, and you can live your life without it unless you're trying to one-turn kill Unite fight, which you're not, because it's over, so don't take this one. Another one that's pretty good is Zweischädel. All the Proving Grounds weapons have something that happens when they're in grid. It's the dark one, ironically, is one of the stronger ones, because bonus dark damage effect on the 3rd hit of dark attack, triple attack. So anytime your dark characters triple, which is all the freaking time, like I think 6 triple. It's hard to make 6 not triple. Let's put it that way. On the 3rd hit, they'll do more damage, just straight damage gain. So. My kitty's mewing. He's got opinions. What do you think we should pick, Stiggy? So this one's good too. But again, the Proving Ground weapons, they're nice to haves, but Xena weapons you can get, they're pretty easy. There's Xena... Oh, Sticky, you're blocking my light. There's Xena weapons coming soon for light and dark, I believe, in the next month or so. So you don't really need these. They're not a huge upgrade over Xeno. They all have a nice to have effect on top of it, but they're not super... they're not that big a deal. Tiamat Malice Weapons. It's interesting. I see there's no Leviathan Malice Weapons in here, which is weird. I don't know why they don't include the Leviathan Malice Weapons, but they don't. I have no idea how to say this word. It's even got those weird letters that I don't know how to pronounce. If you know how to say this word, comment down below and let me know. This is from Tiamat Malice. It's wind charge attack damage cap. It is enmity. That's fine. That's good. I have one of these FOB. I actually never used it for the United fight, but you know, having access to an enmity weapon can be helpful, because if you're fighting, oh no, Sticky, don't disable my mic. If you're fighting like Lucy HL, you're gonna take a lot of damage, so maybe swap out like one of your stamina weapons for an enmity weapon. Can be helpful over wind. Situational though. Another one people might think about, Magitas. This is Garrison. You're going to need these if you want to solo Lucy HL as Dark. I'm going to just flat say it. You don't need this at all if you're not going to solo Lucy HL as Dark. They're good for that. In general, though, that you've got better options as Dark. But if you're going to solo Lucy HL, you need these. And if you're thinking about soloing Lucy HL, you probably don't need my advice either. So, that's all of them. Top pick. Top pick is gonna be Scales. Second pick is gonna be... Where is it? Oh, where the fuck is it? Okay, top pick, Scales in the minion. Second pick, Savior Hollowed Round. Why Savior Hollowed Round? Because it's extremely strong. Lots of multi-attack plus stamina. Cowling's harder to farm, and Water Unite fights coming up. Third pick, any of the Grand Epic weapons you're trying to build a free-to-play primal grid. So Chains of Caucasus, Unias, and Adamantine Gauntlet, because you need those. Otherwise, all the other ones, I don't really recommend them, but, you know, it's your ticket. You do whatever you want with it. You can light it on fire if you want. Don't do that. It's not a ticket you want to waste. And then I guess like far back in the pack, if you just don't want to farm another freaking Grimnir Harp, you just would rather dig your eyes out then farm another Grimnir harp. You're nowhere near the point you're going to care about the big boy weapons. This one's fine. You can pick some of the M2 weapons. That's been the video. Look out for the anti-ticks video. That's coming in probably today. Probably immediately after this if I can get Stig to stop walking from my camera. I love you, Siggy. Oh, hi, baby. Okay, I'll catch you guys next time. Hope it's been helpful. Got any questions? Put them down below. See ya. I can't see the record button to end this. Stiggy, move.